Where a person ends on earth is not the end of life. Rather, it's the beginning of another phase, which is an endless life in eternity. Daniel 12 verse 2 says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt." God is the owner and giver of life. He gave us life to use it for His pleasure. Revelation 4 verse 11. However, many people don't know many things about life. We must remember, firstly, that man is an eternal being made in the image and likeness of an eternal God. Genesis 1:27 says, "So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them." This means everyone you see will live forever. Everyone that is ever born will live forever somewhere. Secondly, man's life on earth is a temporary adventure, a fracture of his overall life. James 4:14 says, "Whereas ye know not what ye shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanisheth away." Man's life on earth is a temporary adventure. Man's existence on earth is a tiny fraction of his overall life. Life on earth is an infinitesimal fragment of life in eternity. Thirdly, the end of earthly life is the beginning of endless life in eternity. Where a person ends on earth is not the end of life. Rather, it's the beginning of another phase, which is an endless life in eternity. Daniel 12 verse 2 says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt." Everyone will either have everlasting life with God in heaven, or shame and everlasting contempt with Satan in hell. So the end of earthly life is the beginning of an endless life in eternity. Everyone will live forever after death, either in heaven or in hell. Finally, God does not desire for anyone to be lost in hell. God desires for people to live with Him forever in heaven. He does not desire for anyone to be lost in hell. God is not looking for people to send to hell. It is possible to hear some messages that sound as if God is satisfied by the number of people He sends to hell. It is not true. Scriptures make it clear that hell was not created for man, but for the devil and his angels. Matthew 25 verse 42. So God has no desire for the loss or the perishing of any soul, according to 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9. Since a greater bulk of our life will be spent in eternity, wisdom demands that we pay attention to our eternal destination, the place where we shall spend the endless phase of our life. Refuse to live in a way that will jeopardize your eternity with God in heaven. Live your life to please God always. Remember, everyone will either have everlasting life with God in heaven, or have shame and everlasting contempt with Satan in hell. Grace, and stay blessed.